Okay, what is up? Hope you all are enjoying the summer break to this point, and at the same time, I'm gonna give y'all a lot to do. A lot to do. Look, this is definitely one of those situations you're gonna thank me later. Okay, I'm just gonna give that to you right now. I'm gonna ask from a lot from you during this summer break. You got time? Even if you got a job or something, you got time. But let's also get you prepared for next summer, or even when you graduate, be job ready and give you something to work with. So this is where this project comes into play. The mini coverage initiation. So let me talk you through it. Now, I'll give you my motivation for this project. Thinking about things when I was back at TRS, uh, you all probably have heard. Used to work at Teacher Retirement System of Texas as an allocator. So the people who gives the hundreds of millions of dollars to the hedge funds, yeah, that was me. I did that for nearly a decade, about 8 years. And towards the back half of that, I was a lot more involved in the summer intern process. First of all, my team gave me all the interns because they didn't want to deal with them. I kind of like the mentoring, hence why I'm here. But something else I enjoyed and wanted to pick up on is what does it take to get hired, especially as an intern, and how do you stick out? And not only what does it take for you to get hired once you're in, how do you actually get the offer? So wanted to share a big thought that came up very early on and think about things. It was this idea called the floor versus the ceiling. If you're actually into any type of sports, mainly NBA or NFL, and you like the draft, these are some of the ways they think about draft prospects. Yes, you think of yourself as a prospect. Yeah, it could be a good or bad thing. But generally, you need to showcase some form both. You need to showcase the floor, meaning I have a baseline understanding of what this job entails, and I can do that. I can come in day one with little to no training, and I can handle things. I can handle my own. I'm still have questions, things to figure out, but there is like this belief that there's no stupid questions. Unfortunately, sometimes in the workplace there are stupid questions. So there is a little bit of expectation. You need to know enough, or at least know where to, or how to find the answer. So baseline competency you need. And then there's the ceiling. The floor gets a lot of love. The floor gets a lot of love. I mean, think about it. We're having a Raider Capital Group for the investment banking track. That's a lot of floor work. It's a lot of floor work. Understanding the technical aspects, the DCLs, maybe a little bit of behavioral stuff, how to think through a deal. That's a lot of floor, which is very important. You need the floor. When you first get into a job or try and get past the initial interview stage, the floor has to be there. But you also need a ceiling. You also need to show that I have enough interest or enough potential where I can take things up a notch. That's the difference between somebody who can get the internship and get the offer at the end of the internship. At TRS in particular, we'll bring on 6 interns, knowing max we're going to hire 3, like we're only going to hire 2. So not just thinking about things in terms of getting you the internship or getting you the offer for a full-time job, but once you are in it, how can you show that next level, that next step? And hopefully through this, you figure out what's the step is for you. So that's kind of the thought process that drives this entire project. And personally, it is a lot easier focusing on getting the ceiling down. Because with the ceiling, your floor, normally, if you're doing the right things, depending on what you're doing, if you're focusing more on the ceiling, it naturally bumps up your floor. But the ceiling, that's how you actually show, like, hey, there's something more beyond here. This person might be special. This person has what it takes to take things up a notch and even be like a true blue contributor and bring something different to the table that's already not on the team. So yeah, definitely focus more on the ceiling. And we're going to cover some floor stuff too, but the ceiling is where you get the job done. Now, the ceiling, and if you went with me on the industry trip to Austin, or just in general, the ceiling normally comes out I call it passion. When you dive a little bit deeper into that, it's more of a deep knowledge and understanding of something, especially if it's related to the job. So we went to Vista Equity Partners. One of the younger guys, analysts there, you could tell he's been nerding out about software for years before even coming to the job. He's been nerding out for years, so he's already been on top of things for years. So there is a lot, and I mean a lot, of benefits for being able to go deep on topics, because that's how you show the ceiling, especially if they're relevant topics. Now, don't get me wrong. To me, nothing wrong with, for example, you're going to be doing a lot of reading. By the way, just foreshadowing, a lot of reading. To me, it's good if you read some fiction, and that's the thing you love to read. I actually think that does push your ceiling up. It's not as clear. But if you're reading books related to an industry and you're deep diving into things related to the industry and newsletters and consuming content and writing out things and developing your own beliefs related to an industry, then yeah, that's the way to definitely show the ceiling while also bumping up the floor. So yeah, deep knowledge, and that normally comes over time. That's the thing. You can't cram over a small window to prepare for an interview. It's more of you've already been building this up over time. That's why this project lasts all summer and is only the starting point, to be honest. It's only the starting point to build things up over time. So you're going to build a deep knowledge and understanding of the topic. And what that topic is going to be is covering 3 companies, which means you're going to have a really strong understanding of a particular industry, or even sub-industry, really niche, but over time you can broaden that out. So, like I just mentioned before, this project is kind of a catch-all, especially for whatever investment path that you want to take down. It will serve as both the floor and the ceiling, because whether it's an equity research path, an investment banking path, even to an extent, some wealth management stuff, they're all similar, at least in the start, in terms of what's going to be needed to get done. Usually, you need to start building up some aspects of becoming like a subject matter expert in something. That's how you normally get ahead in your career, or even start off to provide value. You look where maybe some expertise is lacking or could be built up a little bit more, and that's where you jump in and you just dive straight in to figure things out. And what a lot of people miss is that you can know more than your colleagues around you in a particular topic by just consuming more and reading more and thinking more about it. It can happen. Now, finding out how to do that while doing your day job, that's the trick, but it can be done. But this gives you something, this project in particular gives you a way to experience how to do that. While at the same time, of course, I am definitely one that I want y'all to showcase yourselves on LinkedIn. I'm a big person on that. I want you to be on your resume. Okay. If you click on in the initial email, there's the initial overview, Word doc. You see some of the internships and job postings that inspired this. Like by late July, I actually want you all to actually be applying for them. And I actually think you have more than a fair shot to pull these off just from this alone, especially on the internship front. This is a catch-all for you to figure it all out. Now, say it's a catch-all, you'll see on the posting, mainly focus on the hedge funds. It's the hardest job to get. It's the hardest one. IB seems like it's pretty tough now, but try to work into a hedge fund. I'm telling you, it's hands down the toughest. It's hands down the toughest. But again, you're doing this project and you're going to find out through this project, there's some things that you might like a lot and other things not so much. That's good. That's good because that helps inform you. Okay, the hedge fund thing's not for me. Maybe, but this opens the role up for IB. I can transform this into an IB thing. I'll talk more about that towards the end of the project. You gotta get to that point first. And let's not also forget, yeah, those are the firms, by the way, that I want you all to apply to. All 4 big heavy hitters, all 4, but especially BlackRock, Valley Named .72. Those are where I want you all to apply. But this is actually going to help you in your classes, particularly if you haven't taken financial statement analysis yet, and definitely for those who want to take Smith. Either the public version of Smith, which is ran by me, or we're experimenting with having more of a private equity version. It's going to help with both. Now, for those in particular who are interested in Smith, the public version that's ran with me, there is for just to show you how it plays a role. There's a memo that the students put together at the end. There's a showcase, there's a pitch, there's a summary stock pitch that some of y'all might have set in on it. But the stock pitch is really a summary of the memo that they wrote. It's a 30 to 40 page memo that's written. And I'll give you the full outline. I talk about this or bring this up almost in front of before any lecture I give. Like this is what we're walking towards. This is our North Star. This is going to be 25 to 30% of your grade. This memo. You got to nail a lot of things down. It's a lot going on here. You might not recognize everything. Might not all make sense. That's fine. That's for Smith. However, during the summer, you're going to be touching on parts of this final memo. So you're going to get this aspect down, at least initial part of the industry analysis. This competitive positioning analysis is going to come into play. You're going to be doing an element of that. You're going to learn how to create a stock annotation chart. That's more in July. Going to learn about how to think about institutional investors, other investors in the stocks that you're covering, how to think about them, think about certain traits by these investors, understand what the short sellers are thinking when it comes to a stock. Understand how to do any type of analysis, and it's all building up to how do I build conviction that I'm choosing the right stock out of the three that I'm going to be covering. And some valuation stuff. And depending on if you've taken Finance 3320 or not, depends on the level of the type of valuation study you should be doing. If you haven't taken it, that's fine. We'll have a lecture towards the end about just to do like peer analysis or like multiple analysis. So, for example, we hear about analysis based on price to earnings and things of that nature, help you with that. If you have taken Finance 3320 or at least have some experience with DCF analysis, I'm gonna help you how to do that in a proper way. So you're touching on all these different aspects already. So this project is not just helping you get the job, land the job, be great at the job, but still has a benefit within the classroom. Unfortunately, though, what's more important is the job part. I don't know if we always do enough. Okay, so one last thing, I brought this up, is really more industry focused, really niche. And just want to bring up this aspect as to why we're going down this path. Developing that expertise helps you build the deep knowledge, helps down the road help you build some pattern recognition. You're not going to build it yet because you're just getting started. Like the pattern recognition takes time, but you need a baseline knowledge to figure some things out. And so that's where that aspect helps. And of course, actually on the job front, down the road, especially if you're interested in like a more equity research stock picking role, most roles are set up with a focus on a sector, and you're focusing on three companies that are within the industry, and the industry feeds up to a sector. So you already can show like, hey, I can do this on a sub industry level. It's not that big of a deal to broaden it out. So overall, overview here. The primary goal is to differentiate between a good company and a good stock. You'll be surprised how many people can't do that work at these top hedge funds. You'll be surprised how many people cannot do that. But you're going to learn how to do that through this summer project. First part is focused mainly on understanding the company part. You're going to be focused on three companies, and you're going to, in the spreadsheet, you got the three companies, at least the tickers and the sub groupings, the industry groupings. Choose the one that you're most interested in doing, the sub industry that you're most interested in. You're going to learn about the companies and how they run and how they compete with each other within the industry. And then we're going to move to the stock stuff. Okay, we understand the differences in the companies, and you're going to make a call on which company you think is the best position and the worst position, one's in the middle. And now you need to be able to gain that same type of ability on the stock front. What's likely going to happen is just because a company, you're going to rank them as the best company or best position company, if everybody thinks they're the best position company in the stock market, that doesn't mean that's the best stock. If the second company is not that far behind, but the market's pricing it like it's way far behind, that's the better stock. So you're going to learn how to do that. And then the third part is the molding that I was talking about. And I'm going to help you with that in terms of figuring out, okay, I did this analysis. These are the parts I really liked. These are the parts I can do without. And based off of that, how can you take this project and mold it into the the path you want to go down? Wealth management, investment banking, things of that nature. Now, in the end, it's going to be a PowerPoint presentation, like a pitch book. That a lot of investment bankers do it. It's going to be max 30 slides. If you want to include an appendix, that's fine. But max 30 slides. 30 slides sounds like a lot. Sounds like a lot. I get it. Sounds like a lot, but I got a little bit more on that. Going to create a 2-page summary report of the work you did, especially in tailoring it to what you want to go after. And then again, especially for those who want to take it up a notch on the valuation front, the DCFs and all that, I'll want to see the spreadsheet so I can give you some feedback and help you actually make sure you're on the right path. Now, this project is a milestone approach. So I'm going to be coming out with a lecture every 2 weeks. And you will not get access to that lecture until you've made progress and you've met a milestone for me to check. So, yes, the 30 slides sound like a lot, but in reality, you're building it along the way. Throughout the entire summer, you're building it along the way. So, I've recognized too that there's a lot of people who drop out of like these projects or case competitions. And I do think that some of it is the guidance. And if I do think that if I can help you along the way, that likely leads to less dropout, especially something like this. This is, you might see, this is a lot to take on, a lot to take on. So yeah, every 2 weeks, I'll be coming out with a lecture. And only if you get to the milestones, you'll get access to the lecture. 'Cause I'm gonna be putting this on YouTube. And in between, I'll post office hours for virtually for you can come in if you have any questions. And I just said that cannot move on to the next milestone until I approve you, and I personally send you the link. Now you're gonna be doing some reading. I already mentioned before. I'm doing a lot of reading. 3 different books. One book is called Seven Powers by Hamilton Helmer. That's going to help on the competitive positioning front. That's probably the best way to understand that. Second, Emotionally Intelligent Investor. This book is actually my second favorite investment book of all time. And nobody knows about it. It's like one of those best kept secrets, almost like a hole in the wall restaurant. Emotionally Intelligent Investor. It'll help a lot on the stock front and understanding other investors' motivations. You're going to buy 1 or 2 books related to the industry that you want to cover. Okay, so that's how you build expertise. You got to read those type of books, which is something that's not common for finance majors for some strange reason, but should be more common. And honestly, I'm be pushing a lot more in Smith. And then there's one more book you could buy. You don't have to buy it. It'll definitely be helpful more in the beginning. Called Understanding Michael Porter. So, especially if you have not taken financial statement analysis yet, you should really consider buying it because it will help you in that class. You're going to come over on something called Porter's 5 Forces, and we're going to cover that here. But in my class in Smith, you're also going to come up across value chain analysis, and it helps there too. And even some of the value proposition stuff, things about just understanding a company, how it runs, and how it competes in the industry. It's all coming from that book. But there's a lot of resources online that can help with that too. So that's why it's not a requirement. Okay, quickly on using AI here. This is the best way to use AI during this project. 3 main ways. It should help you brainstorm. It should be helping you brainstorm if you're stuck and you want to figure out the best way to approach certain things or figure certain aspects out. You can ask ChatGPT or Claude to figure that out. A task starter. So that's something that I've been doing a lot more. Sometimes it takes a second to get started. It's much easier to edit things than start from scratch. So you can get ChatGPT as a task starter. So you give it an outline of what you think you want to have done. And you ask for initial draft. It gives you some things, and you're like, I kind of like that. I hate that, but just the fact I know I hate that, I know I need to change. So it's a good way to kickstart some things. And then there's an editor. You get things all the way done at the end, and you figure out what am I missing, or based off of this rubric, am I hitting everything? It's something that for those who've been paying attention to me on LinkedIn, I definitely do for my newsletter. Definitely use it as a, did I hit everything that I wanted to hit? Now, it's going to be very tempting to utilize ChatGPT and these sorts a lot more than what I just described. I am telling you, do not do it. Like, limit it. Limit doing it. I'm gonna even tell you when you should do it. But you're trying to build your baseline knowledge and comprehension. If you lean too much on the LLMs, yes, you'll get this project done. But again, this is as much about the process as it is about the final result. The process of gaining this baseline knowledge and comprehension and building that over time and continuing to build it beyond once this project is done. That's the real goal here. That's the real goal. So that's the aim. Don't just try to get this done and think that's good enough. No, the truth will come both in the interviews and especially if you end up getting the job. So you got to think beyond just getting this done. Okay, that's what I'm thinking on. I need you to think that way as well. All right, with all that being said, let's get to work. Go ahead and click that other link on the first lecture. See you on the other side.